Urgent, America's team fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news, and don't forget to turn on notifications, so you don't miss anything. Cowboys Rumors Insider makes monster Micah Parsons contract prediction. How much dough will the Cowboys put on the table? What the Dallas Cowboys will do in the draft remains a mystery, and Micah Parsons has stayed in the dark about his new contract, but an NFL insider made a monster contract prediction about Parsons. With other edge rushers securing big deals, it seems like the Cowboys will need to back up the cash truck to Parsons' home and unload some green ones. That's the viewpoint of Albert Breer, according to Sports Illustrated. The price keeps rising. On Micah Parsons, Breer wrote, with Chase and Myles Garrett now both over $40 million per year in new money, it's pretty clear that Parsons' next contract average will start with a 4, and that 4 won't be followed by a 0. Ouch, Jerry Jones. The boss. Dude may have to dig deep into the pockets for this one. Cowboys LB Micah Parsons awaiting a large payday. Oddly enough, there's confusion about the depth of contract talks between the Cowboys and Parsons, according to Cowboys Wire. Comdasa WFAA's Mike Leslie has reported that Parsons and the team have held discussions as recently as Tuesday, Todd Brock wrote. NFL Network's Jane Slater says nothing is close and that meaningful talks haven't even begun yet. Clarence Hill Jr. of All City DLLS seconded that. So, the waiting continues. Also, there seems to be a concern about Parsons' presence on the team, according to Cowboys Wire. From absences at voluntary team workouts to the in-season podcasting to public critiques from teammates like Malik Hooker and DeMarcus Lawrence. The questions continue about Parsons' commitment to the team and whether he's good for the locker room, Brock wrote. In his defense, Parsons has said everybody leads in different ways. And now, with a new mega contract up in the air, everybody is watching to see how the organization responds. Furthermore, Parsons isn't the only player the team needs to get under. A long-term contract. Guard Tyler Smith, tight end Jake Ferguson, and cornerback Darren Bland are in this mix as well. Smith's importance comes from the fact he's set to be the lead dog for the offensive line, according to ESPN. In my mind, I think it just starts with maintaining that standard, Smith said. When I got here, from the film room to walkthroughs, I've seen how Tyron and Zach practice. I've seen how they study. I have thought about how I can be the best leader I can be. How can I continue to improve the standard that they've set before me? It is something that I take to heart every day. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest America's team news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Cowboys 49ers may be competing for. Four-time Pro Bowl WRT, the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers are both NFC teams who were serious contenders in 2023. However, they also both missed the playoffs in 2024. Both teams have work to do in order to get back into Super Bowl contention in 2025. They also both have a need for another wide receiver to help their respective quarterbacks. With that in mind, there is an intriguing four-time Pro Bowl option available on the market. That player is none other than Houston Texans free agent wideout Stefon Diggs. Diggs, who is making his way back from a torn ACL that he suffered after just 8 games with the Texans in 2024, is among the most intriguing players left to sign. It sounds like both the Cowboys and 49ers could be competing to sign the 31-year-old receiver to boost their offenses. According to a report from NFL insider Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, Dallas and San Francisco make sense as potential suitors. For Diggs this offseason, is that place out there for him? San Francisco would make sense at the right price. Dallas might too, with his brother already there, Breer wrote. He continued on, revealing more about the two teams potentially being fits for Diggs. And at this point, those teams would have a pretty good idea of what they're getting, he wrote. He can be mercurial, he can get caught up in his emotions and his numbers, but ultimately, he's actually a really good guy who badly wants to win and works his butt off to do just that, which, for the right team, should be manageable. Diggs was productive in his 8 games with Houston before the ACL injury. He caught 47 passes for 496 yards and 3 touchdowns. NFL writer calls for Cowboys overhaul by drafting Shedder Sanders and hiring Coach Prime in 2026. the Dallas Cowboys have faced a 30-year Super Bowl drought, and the roller coaster keeps going with more questions than answers. Dak Prescott signed a mega deal and exited early due to injury last year. His $240 million extension would bring a $105 million cap hit with very little options other than trusting the process and letting him start. Brian Schottenheimer was brought in to prove himself, but that could go south in a hurry. One NFL writer is convinced it's time for major adjustments in Dallas. USA Today's Katie Drummond predicts the Cowboys will take Colorado QB Shedeur Sanders in April's draft at 12th overall with a bigger plan in mind. Schottenheimer would be one and done with Deion Sanders becoming the Cowboys head coach to start the 2026 season. Let's get crazy, Drummond wrote. The Cowboys are going to ride out the next year or two of Dak Prescott under center, who will get tired of having the constant conversation about his job security and waive his not-raid clause before his deal expires. Brian Schottenheimer has 1 year to convince the Cowboys that he's the guy. Otherwise, he's out. Deion Sanders moves into the driver's seat. The Cowboys get at least 2 first-round picks, likely from a team like Cleveland, and roll into the last half of the decade with a total reboot of the roster. Not saying it couldn't happen, but that would be extreme and goes against everything Sanders has preached about not following his kids to the NFL. Shedeur falling to number 12 isn't unreasonable in the slightest, considering more mock drafts have him falling out of the top 10. But at least 5 teams ahead of Dallas could use a quarterback. Will Jerry Jones surprise everyone and trade up for Sanders? Not likely. If he gets past the New York Giants at number 3, there is a possibility he'll be available for the Cowboys. Warren Sapp shot down Miami after Mario Cristobal's 100-hour workweek offer, setting up Deion Sanders, and Colorado Sanders is currently the top QB on Mel Kiper Jr.'s big board. He would bring hype Dallas hasn't had since primetime was in the Cowboys' secondary, and now, America's team fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for your team. It'll be back any moment with more America's team news. How about them Cowboys?